Sam Heughan just said something about Caitriona Balfe that no one saw coming. Not fans, not the press, no one. It's bold, it's raw, and honestly, it might just flip the script on everything we've assumed about their off-screen connection. Let's get into it because this is not your typical celebrity news. In a recent interview that's already making waves across the entertainment world, Sam Heughan opened up about his bond with Caitriona Balfe in a way he never has before. While the two have always praised each other's work, Sam took it a step further, calling Caitriona not just a collaborator, but his greatest creative partner, and someone who's been his constant through the chaos. Heughan said, "It's deep, it's real, and it's something I treasure more than words can say." This rare moment of vulnerability from Sam is being seen by many as a public acknowledgement of just how meaningful their off-screen connection truly is. And it sent fans into a frenzy. Social media is already buzzing with theories, support, and of course, the age-old question, is there more to their story than we've been told? While both Sam and Caitriona have maintained their personal lives with professionalism and privacy, this new insight adds another layer to the chemistry we've seen on screen for nearly a decade. So what do you think about Sam's big reveal? This a sign of something more, or just a beautiful friendship we've all been lucky enough to witness unfold? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and if you're as hooked as we are, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell for more real-time updates on all things Outlander. Sam Heughan, best known for his smoldering portrayal of Jamie Fraser in the time-traveling epic Outlander, is no stranger to voicing his thoughts. But recently, the usually composed Scottish actor took a rare turn toward the blunt and direct when he addressed a controversial topic that has blindsided fans and shaken the entertainment world. CBS's decision to cancel The Late Late Show. Heughan's reaction wasn't just a fleeting remark or a subtle tweet, it was a clear, impassioned response to what many in the industry have been calling a disappointing loss of a creative space that nurtured authentic, unscripted moments between celebrities and audiences. Heughan has appeared on The Late Late Show with James Corden multiple times over the years, offering fans a window into his personality beyond the rugged Highlander role he so famously inhabits. His banter with Corden, his comedic timing, and his often cheeky flirtations with the camera became beloved moments for fans of both Outlander and late-night television. Cancellation of the show hit a personal note for Heughan, not only because of his connection to Corden in the program, but also due to what he feels is a broader cultural shift, one that's deprioritizing depth, spontaneity, and creative storytelling in favor of formula and bottom-line metrics. When CBS officially announced the end of The Late Late Show after nearly 3 decades on air, a wave of reactions swept through social media. Sam Heughan's response was especially notable, speaking during an event promoting the upcoming final season of Outlander. The actor didn't mince words. He called the cancellation a step backward and criticized the network for gutting one of the few remaining playgrounds where artists could truly connect with fans without filter or spin. His tone wasn't laced with typical Hollywood diplomacy. He was instead clear and candid about his frustration, making it known that CBS's decision was not just another business move. It was, in his words, an erasure of cultural texture. Heughan elaborated on his stance, pointing out that shows like The Late Late Show offered a unique platform for actors, musicians, and creatives to let their guard down, with streaming dominating entertainment and social media replacing more traditional press tours. The late-night format had evolved into one of the last spaces for in-the-moment personality to shine through. He shared memories of appearing on the show and how the conversations never felt rehearsed. According to him, there was an authenticity to those interviews. "I wasn't reading a teleprompter. I wasn't plugging a product. I was just talking, laughing, and being a human being." That's rare now. We're losing that. Behind the scenes, CBS's decision appears rooted in economics. The network confirmed earlier this year that they would not be renewing the show following James Corden's departure. Executives cited rising production costs, changing viewer habits, and declining ratings. But critics, including Heughan, argue that such justifications failed to account for the cultural value of programming like The Late Late Show. The show wasn't just about numbers. It was about fostering a sense of community between celebrities and viewers. It was a late-night haven that was often whimsical, ridiculous, emotional, and unexpectedly profound, all in the same breath. Heughan's loyalty to the late-night space isn't incidental. While Outlander is a historical fantasy rich in passion, war, and survival, Heughan himself has always embraced humor and humility in his off-screen persona. His appearances with Corden showcased a side of him fans adored, playful, approachable, and refreshingly real. In a television environment where image management is tightly controlled, The Late Late Show allowed for spontaneity. Heughan recounted one specific appearance where he and Corden improvised a ridiculous Highland Games segment. It was absurd. It was chaotic, but it was real, he said. I laughed until my sides hurt, and so did the audience. That's what we need more of, not less. Heughan's remarks quickly spread online. Fans flooded social media with hashtags demanding CBS reconsider its decision, while others shared montages of their favorite Heughan appearances. Some even launched petitions. While it's unlikely CBS will reverse the move, the backlash illustrates something deeper, a growing frustration with the entertainment industry's increasingly corporate tone. Heughan's comments gave voice to what many have felt but perhaps not articulated so clearly, that we are losing the quirky corners of television that once made the industry feel personal. As if anticipating potential pushback for his bold statements, Heughan emphasized that he understood business was business. I'm not naive, he acknowledged. I know budgets matter. I know ratings matter. But art matters too. Connection matters. Can't measure heart on a spreadsheet. This line in particular has resonated with fans, many of whom have reposted it as a kind of rallying cry for preserving authenticity in a changing media world. It's a rare thing for an actor to put network decisions so bluntly on blast, but Heughan's sincerity and conviction carried the day. James Corden himself expressed gratitude toward Heughan, calling him a true friend to the show and sharing a throwback video of their infamous skit involving kilts and whiskey tasting. Heughan replied with a simple emoji and a heart, letting the history speak for itself. What was once a lighthearted talk show segment had now become a kind of cultural time capsule, one that might not exist again in the same form. For Heughan, the issue extends beyond his personal disappointment. He sees this as symptomatic of a larger erosion in the industry's ability to foster unpolished human moments. In recent interviews, he noted that new platforms are often algorithm-driven, meaning content is shaped for virality rather than substance. When everything becomes about trending, you lose the soul. He said it's a sentiment that echoes the thoughts of many longtime viewers who have watched the late night landscape shrink and morph over the last decade. As Outlander approaches its final season, fans are cherishing every remaining moment with Sam Heughan in the role that made him a global icon. Yet, as his journey with Jamie Fraser begins to wind down, his voice in real-world conversations is growing louder. He is no longer just the face of a beloved series. He's becoming a kind of cultural ambassador for creative integrity. His willingness to challenge a major network over a programming decision might raise eyebrows in boardrooms. But for fans and fellow artists, it's a refreshing reminder that some stars still care deeply about the spaces that allow them to shine. Whether or not CBS will respond publicly to Heughan's critique remains to be seen. Historically, networks avoid engaging with celebrity pushback directly unless it threatens brand perception in a significant way. But the groundswell of support for Heughan's comments may pressure executives to rethink how they approach future programming decisions. After all, the network landscape is becoming more competitive than ever. A misstep that alienates audiences or talent even on something as seemingly trivial as a talk show, can have far-reaching effects. Industry analysts are already predicting that Heughan's remarks might spur other actors to speak out, especially those who've had similarly positive relationships with now-defunct late-night shows. There's talk that some creatives are even considering launching independent digital shows to fill the void. If this happens, it could mark a new era where celebrities reclaim their voices through platforms they control, away from the traditional networks that once held all the power. In the end, Sam Heughan's message wasn't just about the late show. It was about the shrinking spaces for spontaneity, humor, and heartfelt exchange in a media environment increasingly defined by scripted precision. His words reminded fans that art should always have room for the unexpected. And even as one era ends, another may well be born. Perhaps with Heughan leading the charge in more ways than one, his passion, authenticity, and refusal to stay silent have proven that even in a world obsessed with curated perfection, there's still a hunger for what's raw, honest, and true. As the lights go down on the Late Late Show, they may yet rise on a new kind of stage. One where voices like Sam Heughan's are not only heard, but championed. And if that happens, CBS may come to realize that canceling a show isn't always the end of a story. Sometimes it's just the beginning of a conversation. One that won't be silenced. A stunning reunion recently took place that delighted fans of one of the most beloved television dramas of the decade. Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe, the magnetic leads of the long-running hit series Outlander, reunited with their castmates in an unforgettable celebration of love, friendship, and legacy. The joyous occasion was none other than the wedding of Richard Rankin, the actor who brought the complex and soulful Roger Wakefield to life on screen. For fans who have followed the journey of the tumultuous events, this real-life gathering brought together more than just actors. It reawakened the spirit of a story that has lived in hearts for years, set in the enchanting Scottish Highlands. Where much of Outlander was filmed, the wedding was a stunning blend of tradition, intimacy, and star-studded camaraderie. Richard Rankin tied the knot in an elegant private ceremony that combined rustic charm with romantic elegance, perfectly, reflecting his personality and deep Scottish roots. As the golden sun dipped behind the Highland hills, the arrival of Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe sparked whispers, camera flashes, and heartfelt embraces not just between the attendees, but also among the fans who followed the festivities online. With fervent enthusiasm, Sam Heughan, ever the embodiment of gentlemanly grace, arrived in traditional Scottish attire complete with a kilt tailored in his family tartan. His presence alone lit up the atmosphere. But it was the sight of him walking arm in arm with Caitriona Balfe that truly stole the show. Balfe, resplendent in a flowing gown that shimmered under the warm Highland light, looked as graceful as ever. Their chemistry, which once powered the emotional engine of Outlander, was still very much alive, though now redirected into an authentic, affectionate friendship forged over years of intense work, shared struggles, and unwavering loyalty to their craft. Their reunion with the Outlander cast was a heartfelt one. Sophie Skelton, who portrayed Brianna Fraser, was there with her usual warmth, sharing laughs with Duncan LaCroix, who fans will forever remember as the gruff but loyal Murda Fitzgibbons, Lauren Lyle, Caesar Domboy, John Bell, and several others from the Outlander family also joined the celebration, creating a genuine ensemble reunion that felt like an episode sprung to life. But this time in tuxedos, gowns, and kilts rather than 18th century costumes. The group gathered not on a set, built to resemble the past, but in a real Scottish castle that echoed the grandeur of Outlander's romantic settings. This wasn't fiction, it was a real-life celebration grounded in love, anchored by real friendships that have endured beyond filming schedules and seasons. There was music. Much of it traditional Scottish folk songs played on fiddles and bagpipes, and speeches filled with humor, emotion, and memories of working together through the highs and lows of producing a globally acclaimed drama. Richard Rankin, who has often been described as quiet and introspective, was full of visible emotion as he exchanged vows with his longtime partner, a non-celebrity whom he has kept largely out of the limelight. Their love story may not have unfolded in the tabloids, but those close to them have long admired the deep affection and mutual respect that characterized their relationship. The bride, glowing in a lace and satin ensemble, looked radiant as she took her vows. Her eyes never leaving Richard's face. When Rankin thanked his co-stars in his speech, calling them his second family, there wasn't a dry eye in the house. For Heughan and Balfe, the occasion offered more than a trip down memory lane. It was a moment of deep reflection on the journey they've shared since being cast as Jamie and Claire Fraser more than a decade ago. Balfe, who has since embraced motherhood and expanded her work into producing, gave a heartfelt toast to Richard and his new bride. In it, she recounted early days on set when Rankin joined the cast, how his presence changed the dynamic in the best possible way, and how watching him grow as both an actor and a friend has been a privilege of a lifetime. Sam Heughan never won. To be outdone, followed her toast with one of his own, equal parts funny and touching. He spoke of long nights filming in freezing conditions, the way Richard could always make the crew laugh, even during the most grueling shoots. And how his loyalty and warmth made Outlander more than a job. It made it a home. Heughan's words were met with roaring applause and a lingering sense that this gathering was more than a wedding. It was a reunion of souls tied together by something bigger than fame or ratings. The wedding was also an unspoken symbol of closure for many Outlander fans, especially with the series nearing its end. Season 8 will mark the final chapter of the saga that has captivated millions. Seeing the cast come together in a setting so reminiscent of the show's romantic heart gave fans a poignant reminder of how much this story has meant to those who lived it on screen and those who lived through it vicariously. Social media exploded with images of the event, many shared by the stars themselves, who seemed more than willing to let the fans partake in the joy of their reunion. Behind the laughter and elegant toasts, there were quieter moments too. Sam and Caitriona were seen slipping away from the crowd to talk privately near the edge of the venue's garden. Overlooking the lock dot, no one knows exactly what was said, but the affection in their smiles and the comfort in their silence spoke volumes. Their friendship, forged in the crucible of global fame and relentless schedules, remains unshakable. It's a bond that transcends the roles they've played, touching something universal and deeply human. As night fell and fairy lights danced among the trees, a ceilidh band began to play. Guests took to the floor for traditional Scottish dances, their laughter echoing through the crisp night air. Sam was among the most energetic dancers, spinning Caitriona around with a grace that felt choreographed by years of trust. Cast mingled, sipped whiskey, and recounted stories that ranged from the hilarious to the deeply sentimental. These weren't just colleagues reminiscing, they were friends marking the passage of time together, affirming that the relationships built in make-believe can translate into enduring bonds in real life. While the wedding itself was a moment of private joy for Richard Rankin and his new bride, the public nature of the Outlander cast's reunion gave fans a treasured glimpse into the heart of a show that has meant so much. It reminded the world that the magic of Outlander was never just about costumes, plot twists, or even the time-traveling romance at its center. It was about people, flawed, passionate, deeply connected people, both in front of the camera and behind it. As the festivities drew to a close, Sam Heughan raised one final glass. To Richard and to love, he said, looking around at the faces that had become his extended family. May your love story be the best one yet. And with that, the crowd cheered, the music soared once more, and for a moment it felt like time had, indeed, stood still, just as it does in the world of Outlander, where past and present are bound by love in the days following the wedding. Fans continue to relive the joy through photos and stories shared online. They marvel at how the cast, now branching off into new projects and new phases of life, still holds tight to the roots they planted years ago in the Scottish soil. Richard Rankin's wedding was not just a personal milestone. It was a communal celebration of friendship, resilience, and the enduring power of stories that bring people together. Sam Heughan and Caitriona Balfe may have said their final lines as Jamie and Claire in the near future, but the magic they helped create continues to ripple outward. And in a world often fixated on endings, this reunion at Rankin's wedding served as a beautiful reminder that some stories never really end. They simply evolve into new, equally meaningful chapters. As night fell and fairy lights danced among the trees, a ceilidh band began to play. Guests took to the floor for traditional Scottish dances, their laughter echoing through the crisp night air. Sam was among the most energetic dancers, spinning Caitriona around with a grace that felt choreographed by years of trust. Cast mingled, sipped whiskey, and recounted stories that ranged from the hilarious to the deeply sentimental. These weren't just colleagues reminiscing, they were friends marking the passage of time together, affirming that the relationships built in make-believe can translate into enduring bonds in real life. While the wedding itself was a moment of private joy for Richard Rankin and his new bride, the public nature of the Outlander cast's reunion gave fans a treasured glimpse into the heart of a show that has meant so much. It reminded the world that the magic of Outlander was never just about costumes, plot twists, or even the time-traveling romance at its center. It was about people, flawed, passionate, deeply connected people, both in front of the camera and behind it. The festivities drew to a close. Sam Heughan raised one final glass to Richard and to love. He said, looking around at the faces,